Today on One Day Leader, the candidates discuss the issue of narcissism and social media, and then they create some memorable characters to express some of their findings on this subject. Sanibonani Molweni, good evening and welcome to One Day Leader. My name is Jessica Timms. Now, Psychology Today describes a narcissistic personality disorder as an arrogant behavior, a lack of empathy for other people, and a need for admiration, all of which must constantly be evident in work and in relationships. People who are narcissistic are frequently described as self-centered, manipulative, and demanding. Now, these individuals think that the whole world revolves around them. So various studies are finding that people who score higher on the Narcissistic Personality Inventory questionnaire tend to have more friends on social media. They tag themselves more in photos and also update their statuses more frequently. Now, the question we're asking on today's episode is, does social media promote a narcissistic behavior? Now, what are some of your views? Please let us know with your comments on our Facebook page, that's One Day Leader SA, and you can also find us on Twitter, that's at One Day Leader, or you can track the conversation with One Day Leader 4 as the hashtag. Now, we have 6 very brilliant minds with 6 very different visions for South Africa. And I'm going to start with leader number 1, Zarif Minty. Give us your vision statement.
Thank you. I envision a country where young people have the ability to network, self-brand and commercialize themselves. I envision a country where we can push entrepreneurship and stimulate economic growth so that young people move from being job seekers and job finders to job creators.
Natasha, it's all on you.
I envision a South Africa where endless possibilities are the new normal and daily mantra of South African citizens. My vision entails seeing innovative enterprise development and education as core poverty reduction strategies.
Thank you, Natasha. Tami, your vision statement.
South Africa's growth potential lies in its disadvantaged communities. We need to develop the township economy from being micro to macro. Let's turn the Stokvel to the stock exchange.
Thank you very much, leader number 3. Over to leader number 4, Nandile Mlambo.
As South Africa has the highest youth unemployment rate amongst all other developing countries, my vision is to empower young people through personal development programs that equip them in becoming renowned pioneers in their chosen career fields.
Thank you very much, leader number 4. And leader number 5, we have Sydney Madibo.
I envision a South Africa that we all pride ourselves in, where we all work collectively to turn it into the utopia it rightfully is, where there's mutual respect for people of all races, classes and sexes. A South Africa of tomorrow, today.
Thank you very much. And lastly, we have leader number 6, which is Lutwegazi Ntlazi.
South Africa that is not limited by jurisdiction, a country where upon idea generation and strategic planning, horizons are broadened. I see socio-economic challenges in all various spheres rectified, with all potential maximized. In a land alive with possibilities, South Africa, see innovation, think global, act local.
Thank you very much to our leaders. Now, you have all gotten to know all of our leaders over the past few weeks, and you've also voted for them. So now, let's see how the scores are looking like for this week.
This week's scoreboard sees Zarif at 11,940 votes. Lutwegazi is in second place with 5,071 votes. This means that Zarif gets 2 points and Lutwegazi gets 1 point.
Now, by the end of this episode, we will be down to 5 contestants. So the winner of One Day Leader Season 4 stands to win 350,000 Rand, as well as 20,000 Rand to a charity of their choice, sponsored by the NYDA. I think that deserves a big round of applause. All right, and the runner-up will win 100,000 Rand, as well as 10,000 Rand for their favorite charity. So, to make sure that you keep your favorite leader in this competition, please make sure that you SMS your vote to 33121. And this is how you vote.
To vote for your favorite leader, vote Leader 1, Zarif Minty. Leader 2, Natasha Singh. Leader 3, Tami Boy. Leader 4, Nandile Mlambo. Leader 5, Sydney Madibo. And Leader 6, Lutwegazi Ntlazi.
So today, our judges have a very difficult task as they must eliminate one candidate for the very first time this season. So let's meet our resident judges.
Tebogo is the CEO of Tebogo Investment Group and Tebogo Media. He is also the founder of Read a Book SA. Catherine Constantinidis is the Executive Director of Miss Earth South Africa. She is also the co-founder of Generation Earth.
All right, so those are our resident judges, and since this is my first time on One Day Leader, it is an honor to meet both of you. Are you both excited for what's about to happen for the rest of the season?
Absolutely.
I think it's an exciting time, and I think that just looking at the vision statements being said out here, I look at each and every one of these leaders and you can actually see the growth and the potential, and I think that each one of these young leaders will go out and make a huge impact on our country.
Awesome stuff. Thank you very much. So now we are going to welcome our guest judge, who is a familiar face right here on One Day Leader. Now, Mr. Unkgopotse JJ Tabani is a communications expert and the CEO of Orisengo Holdings. He is an author, a radio talk show host, and he is here with us today. Thank you so much, Mr. Tabani, for being with us.
Thank you very much, and welcome to you too.
Oh, I thank you. I take that gracefully. Mr. Tabani, can you please tell us, what do you think is the role of social media in getting oneself ahead, especially in this day and age?
Well, quickly, I mean, the social media, you've got to use it to be tuned into rapid developments. That's the first place. And that also would mean that you need to structure it in such a way that you follow relevant people, you know. So don't just follow people who are just going to go and tell you they're going to have a cup of tea, but also be able to follow news organizations, international news networks, and things like that. Secondly, you use it to engage for your own development and growth. That's very, very important. Thirdly, it's important to understand that social media is not the substitute for reality. So don't get big-headed. Oh, I've got 20,000 friends. These people are not your friends, really.
Yes.
You know, but it must complement the way in which you improve your social and human interaction.
I can feel the expert and the expertise in your communication skills there. So I know that everybody's going to learn a lot. Thank you very much, Mr. Tabani.
Thank you.
So this week, our judges sent the wonderful Tumelo Mutotwane on her final task as host, where she briefed the candidates on their task for this week. So let's see what they got up to.
Good morning, leaders. Well, you do know that we live in a society that is very obsessed with celebrity culture. You know, the number of likes you have on your Instagram picture, the retweets you have from your controversial tweets, or the number of comments that you get from your Facebook posts. And we need to understand the difference or the comparison between social engagement and extreme narcissism. Now, after researching on that topic, you're then required to produce a comic book where you address these issues in a social media era. And your task leader for today is Nandile. You are responsible for this task today. You may begin.
My thoughts on Nandile as task leader, I can't wait to see her in action because, you know, she's always so vibrant and she brings in energy. So it's very perfect actually for Ubuntu, who also has a background on media.
I think for this task, we can actually approach various experts. Number one being a psychologist who is going to unpack to us or give us an insight as to how narcissistic behavior, where it stems from, how it's caused. We can contact a Tweleb. We can also contact a personal empowerment advocate, because I think it's so important to bring in that element at the end.
As a psychologist, how would you define narcissism?
We talk about a narcissistic personality. And that kind of individual presents as having almost like an exaggerated sense of self-importance. They almost present as arrogant. They believe that they are entitled to special privileges. They exaggerate their achievements without necessarily actually having achieved anything really. They may also present as very sort of envious of others, or believe that other people are envious of them.
What types of behavioral patterns
do we associate with someone who is in actual fact narcissistic?
At some point or another, all of us can be accused of being, narcissistic in terms of being like very, very self-focused. Narcissists very often look at what can they get out of a relationship. The relationship is never it's never about sort of a give and take. Your narcissists are seen very much kind of as expedient in terms of a person must serve a particular purpose.
How then do we treat it?
I think that essentially, people require affirmation, and that's one of our most basic needs, to be recognized, to be seen. They say we live in the most kind of technologically connected world, but interpersonally we are the most kind of disconnected that we've ever been. And I think at the end of the day, rather than kind of labeling it as narcissism, we also have to look at kind of what is that individual actually craving, what are they actually trying to get. Social media is also very dangerous because it becomes sort of this absolute obsession where you land up comparing yourself to other people. And if you find that you fall short of these kind of golden standards that you think that they have, you then kind of within yourself, you feel actually quite low. You may even feel quite depressed.
Interview Nomsa. She's a makeup artist, businesswoman, and she's also very big on Twitter, big on Instagram as well. How often do you post on social media, let's say on a daily basis?
I think it depends on what I want to say. If there's a need for me to post. If I have clients that want me to post something for them, then my tweets the number is higher. But if I'm tweeting on my personal capacity, sometimes if I'm free and I'm not doing anything and it's all fun, then I just retweet and respond to tweets, or just tweet nonsense sometimes, just to be fun. So I don't really have a specific number. Sometimes I don't tweet at all.
Do you think that social media is a platform that can boost someone's ego to a point where they can be narcissistic and I guess irritating?
In my case, I think if you got it, flaunt it, but also if it works to your advantage. I know with me, I can be that because my work requires me to be vain, requires me to be taking selfies because it's all up in here. The job is here.
What do your followers actually mean to you?
The majority of my followers are females.
Okay.
Because a lot of women they love looking pretty. As a makeup artist, they then want to see the trends. They want to see who I've worked with, which magazine cover I did. I use social media for that, to market, to advertise, also to interact with people.
You get narcissism where people are, boastful and arrogant, and then you get Nomsa who uses her personality, which she is in physical aspects, to social media, just to build up her business, to get more following, to be entertaining on social media so that more people follow her and get to know about her business.
No yana re tlo go interview Melu Sanda wa organization e bidwang Mzansi Zithande Zithembe. We are exploring narcissism and social media addiction. What are your views on these?
I think the world would be a better place if all of us just were okay with who we are. I think definitely social media escalated because social media feeds you things that you then start to think this is who you should be.
These people that are narcissistic have a dual personality on social media platforms.
I've seen people with literally double personalities. I've seen people that have millions of friends on Instagram and no friends in real life. I've seen people who are empty in their life here at home because their life is all out there, what we present. I think it's toxic. I think we need to really start feeding ourselves with richer things. I personally like to really take some time for me. Ask yourself questions about you. Read something that will feed your soul rather than going out there and letting the world feed you all these toxic images and toxic things that you then start to strive towards.
How can one build his or her own confidence, outside the boundaries of social media influence?
I think I like the last part of that sentence. Outside the boundaries of, that's actually where your answer lies. Before you start getting immersed into social media and being so deep in there, a little less of social media, go in there for viewing what's happening and whatever. There's nothing wrong with knowing what's out there, but feed yourself with things that you want to become.
All right, so those were some very interesting views about what narcissism is and what it's not. Now remember, one of the candidates is doing his or her final task as they take all of the information that they've collected and put it to creative use. Now, did they succeed? We'll find out after this break. Welcome back to One Day Leader. My name is Jessica Timms, and today we're discussing the issue of narcissism and social media. Now today, one of our candidates is going home, so please make sure that you keep your favorite leader in the competition by SMSing the word leader as well as the number to 33121 if you want to see your favorite leader staying in the competition. Now earlier, the candidates actually spoke to some key people who were able to give them an indication of how narcissism and social media interrelate. They were then asked to put all of that information together and come up with a comic book that will give them an indication of how they perceive this. I'm excited, so let's see what they came up with.
Manje sesiyokhuluma no-MK, who's the graphic artist, also okuyena ozosenzela le comic book esifuna ukuyenza. We are in the process of actually creating a comic book. And the main theme of like the topic that we're exploring is, a society that is obsessed with itself. What we're trying to achieve is, to educate people about this topic, narcissism, and how it becomes abusive on social media platforms. What we want to look at here is a character called Cindy. She's very young, she's like 12 years old, receives as a gift, a phone from her parents, and that's where the problem actually starts. She becomes so addicted to subscribing to various social media applications, and she just cannot stop being even more self-obsessed and vainer. Is that possible?
It is possible.
Yeah.
Getting the message through, though, it's going to depend on who you're getting the message to, how the media you're going to be using, the type of people you want to reach with it.
We want to appeal to an audience from, let's say, age group 13 years plus.
Should it be a comic book or an illustration?
We've looked at either going text form or, the speech bubble route in terms of how it's created.
I think mixing both of them will work.
Combination.
Combination,
All
yeah.
right.
Because I think illustrations, give more detail and more story.
It's more powerful.
Yeah, it's more powerful.
Story. Okay. I can't wait to see this product fully finished and ukuthi phumelele.
And now it's crunch time as the leaders approve the final product.
So we're here to actually see the work MK. Comic book finally.
This is the cover.
Yeah. You've played with those colors exactly how we wanted you to.
Exactly what we had in mind. That's the front cover. That's the thank you.
That's the whole thank you.
So thank you to all the people we interviewed.
Yeah, that's the
Page
first
one.
page.
Wow.
Page, second
At
page.
home.
This is the one that follows that one.
Yes, with all the hashtags, school things, hashtag first day, and just look at how, just the vanity, how that comes through with the selfies.
We're really enjoying, what he's done so far and with the finished product and everything. So we looked at the whole concept and the whole comic book from start to finish. And I think that it gives every single message that we really wanted to put through in the comic book.
I love the gloom, like the mood in the car, in the very bottom.
Gray, the brown.
Yeah, because just this monster, it's taken over the atmosphere.
Physical communication is no longer
Exactly.
And your relationships with people around you.
Affected.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my absolute favorite.
That's the one I was
With
for.
that quote that we said we'd put there, that you can only be the best you there is. Look at yourself in the mirror. I mean, she looks as natural as possible.
And it's more natural. Yeah.
Zitembe, yeah.
They love the final product, and I also love the input they gave me, especially with the front cover, the whole colors and filters. That was actually a really good idea.
I really hope ukuthi le comic book inspires intsha in a way yokuthi people learn to embrace who they really are. It doesn't matter what you look like, but you are unique, in your own image, and love that.
Wow, so the candidates have come up with their own version of a comic book. And here it is, South Africa. Thank you so much, MK, for helping our candidates. And I'm sure that the judges have got lots of questions regarding this task. But here's the question. Will it be enough to keep our leaders in this competition? We find out a bit more after the break. Welcome back to One Day Leader with me, Jessica Timms. Now, if you've just joined us, you missed our candidates on their task about narcissism and social media. Now, this is what they had to produce from the exercise, and we must indicate that the candidates wrote the content for the comic book and gave it to Makungu Mangulele, who is also known as MK. So thank you very much to him as well. Now, judges, I'm sure you have plenty of questions for our candidates, but before we come to you, we would actually like to have a word from our sponsors.
We have enrolled a lot of young people in skills development programs. In 2016, we are looking at upscaling our grant funding program, our scholarship fund, as well as our second chance matriculate program, and also the establishment of a youth-built school, which will target young people from poor backgrounds. We have just completed a restructuring program, which has seen us drop our salary bill from 189 million per annum to just about 135 million. So the savings that we've realized there will be redirected to upscale these very important youth development programs.
NYDA, our youth, our future.
And now it's time for us to ask the judges their questions. So let's start with Mr. Tabani. Who would you like to pose a question to?
To Nandile. I just want to find out what was the biggest challenge you had in fulfilling this task and how you deployed your team to resolve that challenge.
So I would say the biggest challenge was the loads of information that we found on narcissism, namely because there are so many characteristics, or there's a myriad of characteristics that make up a narcissist. So it was just like deciding and narrowing down, how, what we're going to go with, what we're going to leave. And, how we managed that is just to put our heads together, to stick with one theme, which was predominantly vanity, which is one of the predominant characteristics in a narcissistic person. And we made sure that we carry that theme out throughout the comic book, and even visually from the front cover all the way down to, all the way to the back cover.
All right. Thank you, Nandile, and thank you to our judges. Now, to you at home, we will actually be giving away 5 copies of #filters to 5 very lucky viewers. So please go to any one of our social media pages and get more information on how you can be a winner. So now it is time for us to get to our debate for this week. And our debate topic is, how do we ensure that the narcissistic culture of social media influences young people to be better individuals? Now, before we start with our debate, here are the rules.
Every leader has a set of instructions and disciplines to live by. These are the rules for the One Day Leader debates. You have 30 seconds to state your vision statement, 60 seconds for the opponent to challenge, and 30 seconds to conclude your debate.
All right, so our first debate for today is between Natasha Sising and Sydney Madibo. And on this one, we're going to start with Sydney. Your vision statement, please.
The narcissistic culture in itself promotes a trend of inflated self-importance, a deep need for admiration, and a lack of empathy, and it cannot possibly influence young people positively. A trend that promotes self-centeredness, selfishness, and explained by Mayo Clinic Org as a mental disorder will not influence young people positively. The alternative to narcissism is collective humanism. On our social media platforms, in our schooling environments, and for professionals in corporate, a model that promotes branding, business, life skills, and matters of societal development and importance. It's a mental shift.
Thank you, leader number 5. Leader number 2, enter the debate.
You speak about narcissism not having the ability to influence young people. But when we look at trends like adaptive narcissism, adaptive narcissism can be used as a positive sector. So your argument in this instance is a logical fallacy.
You're talking about,
may I continue?
You're talking about one aspect of narcissism. Now we're looking at the broader picture and the status quo that is associated with narcissism.
But you
will agree with me that it has a negative connotation. competition
question.
to it. Ask your question.
In your argument, you talked about how narcissism can have an impact on young people, and I believe that is
What I'm
not
saying is that
logical.
it is not a
It is not
solution.
true in the sense that social media platforms can even be used for personal branding as well as branding your
That is
own
exactly
business.
the model I'm pitching to you, which is collective humanism and
But you're
resource
saying
involvement.
that social media cannot do that. You're saying that narcissism tendencies,
I'm saying that
such as
narcissism
positive
cannot
narcissism,
do that. The alternative model can do that.
but looking at psychologically, positive narcissism, which is adaptive
thank
narcissism.
you very much. Leader number 5,
exists.
please conclude.
A humanistic approach embodies the principles of Ubuntu and collective intervention and participation. Far more than killing ourselves for likes and disgracing ourselves for retweets. Let's share each other's brands and post about them. Let's have portals online that speak to our hustles as young people and how we collectively can use our sites to make the world know that we are young people at work. The only way we are going to create a positive culture is by promoting positive discussions. And the only way we can do this is by having this online and in our proximal environments. The more human
thank you.
we are,
Leader number
the more
5,
impact we
please
can
start
make.
your debate, Natasha.
Barack Obama, Steve Jobs, Nelson Mandela, self-reliant solution finders and leaders who have used adaptive narcissism to shape the world. With a 30% increase in narcissistic behavior between 1982 to 2006, narcissism is on the rise. The secret lies in channeling young people from negative maladaptive narcissism to positive narcissism through using social media platforms for them to build their brands, grassroots awareness campaigns, and mentorships through basic education initiatives.
Leader number 5, please enter the debate.
Ma'am, a very simple question. How does that influence a behavioral change in people that do not adapt to positive narcissism?
We already live in a narcissistic-fueled environment. We have social media fueling narcissism. And according to the Stockholm
How does it
University,
inform behavioral
I'm answering
change?
that, sir. May I please have the opportunity to answer? According to a study conducted in Stockholm University School of Business in 2013, it was found that even though social media fuels narcissism, it can be the very same platform where positive discussions
But ma'am, you're speaking about the positive aspect of narcissism. What I'm asking you is, how does it influence a positive behavioral change in people who conform to negative aspects of narcissism?
Social media is where narcissism is fueled, and it is on the very same platform where we can use it to solve this narcissistic
How relevant
pandemic
is that to
we are
someone
faced
who
with.
literally kills
Our
themselves for
country
likes
is
and posts
already
pictures of
narcissistic.
themselves
Our
half naked?
country is infested by narcissistic behaviors. We are saying, let us use the platforms.
Natasha, please conclude.
The very same social network platforms where narcissism is fueled should be used as platforms of self-branding and the promotion of adaptive narcissism. I put it to you, South Africa, that all 6 leaders standing before you are adaptive narcissists. The ability to believe that your vision is a better vision statement and a solution to South Africa's indicates that to South Africa's
Oh, you've still got time. 2, 1. Okay, I'm unfortunately going to have to cut you over there. Thank you very much. That was a really good debate. It's time for our judges to now actually vote for who they feel was their favorite candidate between Sydney and Natasha. All right. And for all of you at home, please do not forget that you can keep voting for your favorite candidate by SMSing leader and their number to 33121 and make sure that you keep them in this competition. The winner is leader number 5, Sydney Madibo. You have won the debate. Now, coming back to the judges, Tebogo, why did Natasha not win?
Well, I think Natasha did win in her own way. I think you brought up some very great arguments within your debate. And I think that little blooper at the end didn't really play a big role in Sydney winning. I think what played a major role is the fact that, Sydney, you acknowledge the negative impacts of narcissism, of which, Natasha, you didn't. And I think for that, with your solutions around collectivism, using it as a platform for discussion, that is a very, it's a very realistic way in which we can tackle narcissism on social media.
Thank you, Tebogo. And now we have got our next debates coming up just after the break. This is One Day Leader. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to One Day Leader, everybody. My name is Jessica Timms, and we are right here on SABC 1. Now, we are having the very first elimination for the season coming up in just a moment. So if you can just keep voting for your favorite candidates by SMSing leader and their number to 33121, then you can keep them in the competition. Now, our debate topic for this week is, how do we ensure that the narcissistic culture of social media influences young people to become better individuals? Now, our next debate is between Zarif Minty and Tami Bowe. So with this one, we are going to start with Zarif. Please open your debate.
Narcissistic personality disorder affects 6.1% of South Africa, of which 78% are youth. However, narcissism can be good for you. A healthy form of narcissism is of paramount importance to ensure that the people gain the necessary confidence and self-esteem needed to become successful. To provide healthy narcissism, it's very important that it ends up being a mindset change where we create concepts of gratitude, positivity, empathy, and authenticity. And this can only be done through social media influence, TV culture, motivational platforms, a true sense of self-branding, and teaching young people as well as their parents how to grow their self-esteem.
Thank you, Tami. Please challenge.
Someone who follows a vain celebrity like Joao Matthews, who actually follows him there, right? How do you actually get that guy to actually understand a positive form of narcissism when they're exposed to this guy's tweets a whole day?
Perfect. So let me introduce you to someone that I know very well. His name is Zarif Minty. And he released a book recently that's a bestseller, and it speaks about the whole concept of self-branding. And what we want society to know, and we want South Africa to know, is that when we look at self-branding, it also includes the concept of aiding the whole concept of elevating the people around us.
The problem is that not everybody on social media is Zarif Minty. In fact, most people are not Zarif Minty. Most people are following you because they like you, right? But people are still naturally narcissistic because of the selfies on Instagram and all of those things.
You're not understanding what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is that obviously we're at One Day Leader to get solutions to problems. So clearly this is how society is right now, and this is a solution to a problem. So what we're saying is, when a book is available and people have the ability...
What if I don't have a book available?
Okay, so with South Africa having the 8th highest suicide rate in the world of 8,000 suicides a year, I envision a society where social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TV programs actually go out and promote gratitude, empathy, authenticity, and grow confidence. I envision a mindset change where a young person can actually take a selfie and caption it and say that self-love and the love for others is key to motivate and liberate. And that can actually save a life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, leader number one. Tami, please open your debate.
Kaya Dlanga is one of the most influential social leaders today. He is the senior communications manager at Coca-Cola, and he's an author of 2 best-selling books. But very interestingly enough, his career actually boomed from Twitter. He's one of the first few Twitter celebrities the country has ever seen, right? But what did he do? He converted the narcissistic nature of Tweleb culture and turned it into a platform to actually advance his own career where he can self-market and self-brand himself as an individual. We need to teach young people to actually use social media like that.
Look, I agree with you completely, Dami. I think social media is a wonderful platform. Like, if you think about it, 24.9 million people in South Africa are on the platform. But when you speak about Kaya Dlanga, I think we need to also understand that the concept of a Tweleb goes far beyond just what you're saying. And I think we need to look at concepts like a lady called...
Understand this, Zarif, right? What you need to do in order to achieve people like Kaya Dlanga is to embed this into the curriculum, the school curriculum, right? In life orientation and in business studies. So, for example, in the UK, they teach what we call cybersecurity. Let me finish, right? They teach what we call cybersecurity, right? They teach people how to use social media to actually get into the job market, and they also teach kids how to use safer online habits.
But I want to speak about Kaya. I think one thing you're forgetting about Kaya Dlanga is that as much as he promotes self-branding and everything, at the end of the day, we need to also bring it in a holistic view and also speak about concepts of elevating
my debate is not centered around Kaya Dlanga, right? My debate is actually centered around actually embedding this culture within the education system. Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Bowe. Please conclude.
All right. So, again, Kaya Dlanga mentioned something very important. He mentioned the fact that Twitter is a trick. The perception of influence that we have actually on Twitter is limited, and it isn't an actual measure of power. Narcissism comes from the belief that social media is a measure of power, and these people, like Kaya Dlanga, actually didn't believe in that perception. We need to come into our education system and teach our kids to actually use social media to advance their careers as opposed to advancing themselves as individuals.
Okay, thank you very much, leader number 3. Your time is up. What a wonderful debate. And now, judges, please choose the candidate that has most impressed you. And as they are doing that, please do not forget that if you would like to win that comic book, all you've got to do is go to any of our social media pages so that you can get more information. So on Facebook, that's One Day Leader SA, or on Twitter, that's @OneDayLeader, and also track the conversation with the hashtag #OneDayLeader4. So remember, you too are a participant right here on One Day Leader. So, looks like we have got a result from our judges. The winner is leader number 1, Zarif Minty. Now, coming back to the judges, there is one judge who did not vote for leader number 1. Who was it, and why didn't you vote for leader number 1?
Well, it was me. I think that Mr. Tamipoe, for me, you took this one. And for me, it was by a long shot. Talking about the solution for this and giving us an example from the UK that we need to inculcate it in our education system. And that not everybody is Zarif who can write a book about branding yourself. That was a great counter debate. In as much as Zarif, you did a great job. But for me, Tammy, you took this one, and hopefully the people at home will show that you did take it.
Okay, Catherine, what is your opinion here?
Unfortunately, I have to disagree with you because I think that, Tammy, you spoke about social media and how we educate children on social media, but for me, that wasn't what the debate was on. I think Zarif spoke directly to what his vision statement has been from day one, and that is around self-branding. It is about how do we ensure that we always consistently build young brands, and he brought himself in as a great example.
Mind shift change, I think, was a critical thing. And by the way, Kaya Dlanga left Coca-Cola long ago, so if you're going to use somebody as a case study, you better research more thoroughly.
Our final debate, which is between Nandile Mlambo and leader number 6, Lutwegazi Ntlazi. And on this one, we are going to start with Nandile.
World Health Organization 2014 Mental Health Survey, South Africa's prevalence of narcissistic personality disorder was ranked at 6.2%. Now, Professor Ladden, a developmental psychologist from the University of Iowa, states that the signs of narcissism and self-esteem begin at the age of 7. And I have 2 solutions to recommend. First of all, online parenting programs that speak to prevention of personality disorder, and as well as self-development programs for at-risk youth.
Thank you, leader 4. Leader 6.
Okay, as you may know, young people are very gullible, and as you know, young people have very much access to social media. So at the time that you educating parents on online parenting programs on social media and narcissism, how does that help the one young person who has social media access right now? How are they impacted immediately? We need an immediate solution. How does that happen?
So an immediate, in fact, a global solution it is. Dove at the moment has a beautiful self-esteem project that has reached 17 million young people.
Is it in South Africa?
Is it in South Africa? All over the world. Yes, it is in South Africa.
All right. So then mediocrity, when we keep doing the same thing and accepting different results.
We're not accepting different results. Since 2004, sorry, leader, this project has been so successful. They have reached 17 million young people between the ages of 7 and 17 through the self-esteem education.
And is the solution sensitive to social class? Is the solution sensitive to social class? Elaborate, leader.
All right, ladies, leader number 4, please conclude.
Okay, now, the Narcissism in Children study conducted by the Personality Disorder Awareness Network found that children who developed high self-esteem also had parents who expressed fondness and affection for them, but did not overly praise them. Children who developed narcissistic tendencies had parents who showered them with praise and constantly compared them to other children. I think through personal development programs, through self-development programs that build healthy self-esteem, we can have a less society. We have young people that are more progressive, are better individuals, and through parenting as well.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mlambo. Lutwegazi, please open your debate.
A powerful guerrilla social attack that inspires and brings role models. Imagine a redefined version of the music young people listen to and the pageants they participate in. A survey I conducted on narcissistic behavior and pop culture influence reveals variables are correlated. 80% of the sample declared that pop culture influences the way they feel about themselves. themselves. We need our very own micro-orange economy within schools, institutions of higher learning, and communities where we stimulate confidence through creativity, innovation, motivation, and transformation.
Leader, I think that, it depends what you are taught at home as a young child. One of the most common manifestations of narcissism in parents is their lack of empathy
leader, this is
for their children.
My vision is focused on the youth.
Yes, it's focused on the youth, but the youth is molded by their parents.
And may I please make reference to this research that I made at the Sefako Makgatho University?
Yes.
In a group of 20 students who were sampled, and I completely interacted with them, asked them what they feel, how are they influenced by social media, by narcissism, and they all declared that 80% of them declared that, in fact, 80% of them declared that social media and pop culture influences the way they feel about themselves, the decisions they make, as well as the music they listen to. It influences the way they feel about themselves. That means that the solution came from the people who are actually affected.
But not only pop culture. At how old are those children? I'm talking about starting at a younger age, leader, at least from the age of 7, when you start developing yourself.
At the age of 7, some people don't have cell phones, leader. Some young people don't have access to
All right, Lutwegazi, please conclude.
The power of influence rests in the content of pop culture. When Casper Nyovest released Mama, I Made It, young people were inspired. And when Tandoya Nkosi was crowned Miss South Africa, Mpumalanga rose. Let us now magnify the impact through the meaningful use of such creativity. Let us celebrate intellect, where the nerd is equally as important as the it girl, and produce more vibrant music, inspirational music, introduce more social, economic, and environmentally oriented pageants that anyone without their physical attributes contributing. Let us transform pop culture.
Wow, nicely done on time. Thank you very much to leader number 6 and leader number 4 for that very insightful debate. And now, once again, we are going to our judges to find out who they were most impressed by. All right, so they're going to do their voting. And as they vote, please remember that this is the first time we will be eliminating a candidate, and to keep your favorite candidate in the race, you've got to SMS the word leader and their number to 33121. So that is how you keep your favorite leader in this competition. So it appears that the judges are finished with their voting, and the winner is leader number 4, Nandile Mlambo. Congratulations on winning this round. All right, so judges, can you tell us what you would like Lutwegazi to improve on?
I think Lutwegazi is an absolute pro at the debates. She has done exceptionally well throughout the series on almost every single debate. So there's very little room for improvement. I think she always just needs to be at the top of her game and needs to address the engagement during that discussion or debate session.
Look, I was impressed by a concrete intervention about parental intervention at the young stage, because once kids start to engage in social media, they're 8, 9, or 10 thereabouts. That's where you can arrest any deviant behavior. So yeah. I was impressed by that, and I think it's something we can build on. I mean, not taking away from the the research done and talking to the people, but on this particular suggestion of intervention, I think if all parents, and there are many parents who don't care, who've just switched off and let their kids just go into social media and become victims there, and you can imagine what kind of behavior will then come out of that kind of lack of attention by parents.
Sure. So this is definitely a topic that is bringing out some very strong views, I think, especially from the judges and from the leaders. So thank you very much to the candidates for their really good debates. After the break, we are going to the audience so that they can have their vote, and then we say goodbye to one of our leaders. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss this. Welcome back, everybody, to One Day Leader right here on SABC 1. Now, we're about to tally the final votes, but before we do that, we have a few minutes for our audience to have a final vote on who the overall winner is in today's episode, in their opinion. So, audience, it is now time for you to vote. And remember, you must vote for either leader number 1, 4, or 5. So get out your keypads. You may now start voting. And as they vote, just remember that the audience is not the only one who has a say in today's show, as we are going to eliminate one of our contestants. Keep those votes coming in to 33121, where you SMS a leader and the leader's number. leader number 4 is the audience's favorite contestant. So well done to Nandile. Thank you very much, audience. We are going to take a look at the final scoreboard for this week. So according to the series score, Zarif Minty is on 25 points, Ludwegazi Ndlazi is on 22 points, Sydney Madibo is on 16 points, Natasha Sising is on 11 points, Tami Buwe is on 9 points, and then Nandile Mlambo is on 5 points. All right? Which means that, unfortunately, we are saying goodbye to Nandile Mlambo. How are you feeling about this being your last moment on One Day Leader?
You know what, I just want to say this has been a fantastic experience. I've grown so much on a personal level. I've grown so much as a leader. You know, I want to just say thank you so much for choosing me. First of all, One Day Leader, Mr. Mapasa, wherever you are, and to all the production team, thank you so much. Thank you for choosing me. Thank you to the judges for your guidance, your advice and your tips, because that's what actually got me to this point. When I started the debate, I was so aggressive and I was a little bit angry, that was coming through in my debate. But your advice has just polished me up, and I'll always take that further, you know, in the future.
Nandile, I'm sorry. I know you're like on a roll saying your goodbye,
Yes.
but Natasha, there is something that you want to say?
Due to my academic reasons, I will be leaving One Day Leader as of today. Come on, guys, don't do this. Thank you so much to the Northwest Province for supporting me. Thank you, One Day Leader. It has been a beautiful experience, and this is not the last time that you are seeing me. I will still be carrying on with my vision, and I'm also starting a new business. So check out on social media. I will be there. I love you so much. Thank you to my mom. Thank you to my little siblings. Thank you for always cheering me on, and thank you to God for allowing His will to be done in my life.
I'm going to give it to the judges. The judges do have the power to save any of the contestants should they be in threat of leaving. Are you going to be using your save today?
I don't think so. We're not going to use our save, but with Natasha leaving, I think that we're going to keep Nandile on. Today is your lucky day and you're not going anywhere.
And there you have it, South Africa. Thank you so much to Natasha for the wonderful contribution that you have made here on One Day Leader. Thank you to our judges, thank you to our candidates, our audience, and especially you at home for voting today. Now, next week, we discuss a very relevant topic in our country, which is the scourge of crime in South Africa. From me, Jessica Timms, it's good night and see you next week on One Day Leader.